Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while because I have been very busy. I don't normally travel much, and all of my travel plans happen to take place all at the same time this year. So I went from a family vacation sort of deal with my wife's side of the family to a trip to IWF, which, if you're not familiar with that, it's pretty incredible. It stands for International Woodworking Federation? Festival. It's an acronym for a bunch of woodworking tools all in one place down in Atlanta. And I took my wife there with me this year, and I met up with Bruce and Drew, Bruce of Bruce A. Ulrich and Drew of Fisher Shop. And we went and checked that out. We were there 2 years ago. The show is so big that they actually do it every other year instead of every year because the logistics of it are just really, really complicated. So we went down to that. And as soon as we got back, my wife and I went to her company retreat thing. But somewhere in between, my wife and I got sick. I assume it was the Atlanta airport or maybe my last flight home. But we both ended up getting the sickness that should not be named. I didn't take a test or anything. Katie did, and she said she got it. And she also lost her sense of taste. So that was, unpleasant. And I have not been that useless, maybe my entire life. This has been, I wouldn't say it's the most sick I've ever been, because I coughed a little, I sneezed a little, I blew my nose a bit. The worst of it was the pressure on my head. I feel like I could only think about 30% capacity. Like I was able to have flashes of ideas, like I should get out to the shop and do this, or I should go to the computer and do that. And then I'd kind of stand up, and I forget what I would stand up for. I was having a hard time having a conversation with my kids just because I couldn't make words happen. And it was a full 7 days of feeling like that. Today is the first day. I'm not 100% for sure, but I'm back to something. I'm back to functioning. So I'm out in the shop trying to make something of my day, trying to salvage this week a little bit. One of the cool things that came out of IWF, aside from all of the tons and tons and tons of cool tools. In fact, here, check this out. There's just so much to see. Gary, was that really all the footage we have? All right, so I meant to actually film a ton down there because there's so much cool stuff, and I was overwhelmed and I had too much fun, so I never really pulled my phone out of my pocket. You saw a robot fake spray finishing a chair. That's pretty cool. There was other things like giant sawmills. There was a machine that turned tree trunks into pallets. Just unbelievable stuff. I am hopefully going to end up with maybe a good relationship with a kiln company out of this. So I'm hoping to be building a kiln in the yard or maybe even in the barn before too long after this. But as far as today's project goes, one of the things I ran into was the company Vectrix. They make really great software for working with your CNC machine. Up until now, I have been using Adobe software to do all of my designing, which I'm probably going to continue to do that. But then the software that goes between my designing and my actual carving, I have been using Easel, which is fine. It is fairly cheap and it works okay, but it's very, very basic. You don't have a lot of control on what you're doing. Vectrix makes VCarve Pro, and now I have tons and tons of control. There are so many things. I'm not going to even attempt to try to show you what you can do with all this, but there is so much to do here that while I was sick, I spent a little bit of time watching tutorials and learning how to use it. And today I have been running the Onefinity and trying to make the software do what I want it to on here. And being a little overwhelmed to begin with, it's actually working really well and it's really easy. My kids said they wanted to play with some swords and shields and stuff, so I found some files on Etsy for some shapes, and I've started cutting these things out. And I have this thing running very fast, and I am doing full depth cuts in this 1/2-inch plywood and using the chip load to hold the piece in place. So I've got one piece left to cut out of here. It's a little dagger. Let's see if I can, there's the dagger, load. So that's what the dagger is going to look like. It'll go up kind of in that corner. Let me put some earplugs in and we'll run this and we'll see this thing go like a maniac doing the full depth carve all at once. So the other cool thing that I found now that I can program the spindle speed into the actual file that loads into here is that when I go to start it and I just hit cycle start, it will kick on my dust collection, which I'm not using during this because I'm trying to leave the chips in the kerf, but it also kicks on my spindle to the correct speed. So even though I have it set here, I don't have to control it with this anymore. If I come in here and hit start, boop, it turns on by itself, the vacuum turned on, and then it's going to go. There. And then on its own, it shut the spindle down and it shut the vacuum down. And if I come in there and touch that, that's warm. I don't want to hold my fingers on that, but that's not miserably hot either. So I might have to adjust some of my speeds and feeds still. But that's pretty cool that I can go in there like that. And, oh, I didn't get it deep enough. Oh, well, I've been beveling the edges of these just a little bit anyway. So we'll clean that up that way. But full depth cut, yeehaw, good enough for a kid's toy, good enough to learn this software stuff. Yeah, and then the other thing I'm hoping to do starting today, I have not been in the shop for 3 weeks now. I have not done anything useful at all for a full week. My brain is fried. I don't have it in me to start anything big. But I have been putting off building a picture frame for quite some time. So that's what this walnut is doing here. This is actually going to be pretty nice pieces by the time I'm done, but I'm going to joint and plane this, and then I'm going to just make a couple of simple picture frames. I have a big, cool painting of a mule deer that I have had for years that I haven't hung up because I don't have a way to hang it up. So I figured this will be a pretty basic, fried brain type project that I can maybe handle. So, yeah, let's move on to that. All right, we're all wrapped up. Before I show you what this looks like, I have just a little bit of a story that goes with it. At my last day job, I worked with a guy who was a really good painter. He painted a lot of wildlife stuff. And for Christmas one year, he brought in a stack of prints of one of his paintings. So I've always wanted to frame it and hang it in my man cave down in the basement, but it's been years and I just never got around to it. So finally, I needed this little quick win project. I built it a frame. Well, here's the painting. It is a gorgeous mule deer buck, and he named it Near Perfect, and he's referring to, I assume, the symmetrical nature of this really big buck. But to me, it's hilarious because in my brain fog state when I made this frame, I just saw the white border around his print and went, yeah, whatever, it's equal all the way around, let's make a frame. So I think I have about a 3/8 inch lip all the way around to capture the glass and the print and the board in the back. But what I never even considered accounting for was how the print actually sat in there. So he called it near perfect in regards to the deer. I call it near perfect because I didn't quite get it right. And I'm cutting off his name, just the very, very bottom of the letters of his name. And the very, very top of the print is just right at the edge. So for what I need it to do, it's perfect. But for what I wish it is near perfect. So I'll chalk that up to the brain fog. It has taken me a couple of days to get this done between taking breaks on the couch and coming back out here. But I am feeling better now. So hopefully I can be back to work doing stuff and getting videos out a little bit more frequently. But thanks for coming along with this one, guys. I'm going to call that the end of this. We'll go hang this up downstairs and get on to the next thing. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see ya.